Hello, Internet. God, I wish we had been
Hello,
stronger for
Internet.
that conversation.
It got a
You've
little
already missed
blasphemy a
everything.
little bit there,
It
so
did
maybe
get a
not.
little blasphemy. Got a little bit, we might get canceled on that.
Whatever. Cancel me, I don't care. I didn't even subscribe.
I can't. There's no one watching to cancel us anyway, it's fine. Hello, Internet, and welcome to Pride again!
Pride again. Woo.
Pride again! Last official week in Pride, however, here at Nerd House we say, fuck the rules!
And we'll
And
probably be doing this next week as well.
we will definitely be doing this next week as well. Because what I have planned will not fit in the couple hours that we play. So, for those watching, we are taking a small break from our Skytown shenanigans to play some Pride-themed D&D. Our last event, our last session, not last week, but the week before and the week before that, were a couple of wonderful sessions run by Rhodes to rescue a lovely performer. It was a blast. I had a ton of fun.
Thank you.
This week we are moving to a different city with a different group of characters, who are ready to celebrate Pride in the city of Oxenfree. Before we begin, as it says down in the overlay below, all bits and subs donated to our Nerd House channel will be matched and donated to the It Gets Better project at face value. So not what Nerd House gets in the Twitch kickback, but in what you donate. We always, say, if you feel comfortable doing that, if you would rather just make a donation to It Gets Better on your own, as long as the money gets there, I don't care. Always in addition to, we are constantly and continuously raising money for Extra Life Foundation. That donation link is in our About section below. Nerd House as the team, and that one, same as usual, the usual shenanigans. I didn't have a graphic for our donations, but $5 for Advantage. We'll do the sale, $15 for Advantage for the party. Or you can disadvantage if you care to fuck with somebody, I don't care. Party can pay for themselves, etc., etc. I think that's everything.
You got the bullet points.
I got the bullet points. So without further ado, we find our party in the city of Oxenfree, in the smack dab in the exact center of the continent of Awella. Oxenfree is a trade city known for its major roads that bisect the continent itself, as well as the city, and the Great River that runs north to south. Trade goes through here if you are on a caravan heading in either direction or any direction, you more than likely will pass through Oxenfree. It is filled with merchants and artisans and has a slightly shady past and present and probably future. The main rulers of this city are a faction called the Primrose Syndicate. Now, the Primrose Syndicate is not the official leaders of this town ever since the governing body, the Coalescence, took over and is trying to make this place better and safer. However, let's be real here, anything shady is going to find a way to survive. The Primrose Syndicate is run by 7 factions, all named after a deadly sin, and then ultimately run by a main and more anonymous member of the entire syndicate. The factions specialize, just as in Skytown, they specialize in certain aspects of the economy and feature, cooperate and partner and sometimes fight. But this week is a week for celebration and is one of the biggest celebrations and largest parties of the year, as the Pride Parade is ready to set in the next tomorrow, actually. However, despite the name of the celebrations, our party, our group of adventurers, I guess I should say, although mostly based in Oxenfree, are heading towards the headquarters for Lust. And actually, if you all should have a map in the Discord, and I will show our lovely viewers Oxenfree itself.
Sam, real quick, I just donated $30, so 2 advantages
Hey,
for everybody.
thank you,
Hooray!
thank you.
You.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you.
Your incentives still say 1d4, but I'm going off
Ah,
what you said.
fuck it. Advantage. I think we change it every time. I should just switch it to advantage. But thank you. Oh, that's what that text message was. Lovely.
I figured you were checking.
Yep. Nope.
Because,
Was not. Phone's over
you
there.
can only do so many things at once.
Our group is headed towards the headquarters for Lust, the area being a shockingly nature-filled portion of the city. The Green Grove in the northeast quadrant of the city also houses Envy's headquarters, sharing a lawn and some properties. It's time to meet Lust and get your assignment for the Pride Party. Before we do, however, I would like our team, our party itself, to introduce themselves. Rhodes, why don't you go first?
Sure. I'm playing Owen Stonebrand. He is a human soul knife rogue. He, rather cliche, tends to wear a lot of very dark colors, much more of a uh, information gathering and doing whatever needs to get done sort of person, not necessarily a sneaky thief, just sneaky in whatever his assignment needs to be. He is unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, he just isn't necessarily a member of the LGBTQ AI plus community, but he is a very staunch ally, and so is very excited to still participate and make sure that nothing goes down at this parade that's coming up, because he doesn't have time for shenanigans. None at all.
Love it. And we love ourselves a good ally. Dustin.
I am playing Wimnel. She is an Azamar warlock. Pact of the. Don't tell me, I know this. Pact of the Chain? Is that what I chose?
Yes, I believe so.
And with the Archfey patron. And she is the best way I can describe Wimnel is a pastel dominatrix. And she is followed closely behind by Imp, her imp familiar. Imp is very much abused and talked down to, but it's okay. He likes it. He said so himself.
Does he have a safe word?
He does.
Okay.
What matters?
Mm-hmm.
There's a safe word. There's consent. But yes, it is. It's an interesting dynamic that those two have. because when you think of a celestial being and an infernal being, your mind immediately goes to the infernal being the torturer, and that is not the case here. These two have flipped the script in more ways than one.
All right. Oric.
I am playing Iris Greenbranch. She is a short little satyr that's a bard. She often walks around strumming her mandolin and humming. And, she's an Oxenfree for Pride because she can never pass up a good party, but regular time she sails with a group of pirates under the banner of Captain Current. Um, but today she's in Oxenfree, looking for a good time and meeting up with some old friends.
Tina.
I will be playing Lilliput Silvermane, a mountain dwarf who aptly has two sort of silvery gray streaks, a trait of the family. And she's a young dwarf now, the equivalent of, someone in, say, their 20s. The women in the family tend to go full on silver hair by about 30. So she's well on her way. She is a wild magic sorcerer, and periodically, as she's walking, you could just see little things that tend to, little stones kind of just like bounce up really quickly, or there's a little like little sparkle or a little flash, and it seems like she, whether it's coming from her or drawn to her, something with the weave of magic around her is just not quite right. There's a kink there. She is she's built basically like a brick house. I see her very much as a French bulldog, so a lot of muscle in a real small package. She kind of has that expression on her face that's like, if you fuck with my friends, I will kill you, and possibly also everything around us because sometimes it gets out of control. And kind of thinks of herself as the wall between the assholes that they have sometimes encountered in the community and the people that she is traveling with.
Lovely. Thank you all. This particular and very interesting group make their way northeast towards Lust. The party enters the grove that houses Lust and Envy, heading towards a large settlement of tents and buildings with mostly white facades. The Lust property, while normally filled with lounging bodies thriving in what they do best, is a buzzing beehive of frantic assistants and party planners. Typically, Lust sponsors this event every year for Pride, despite it being named Pride. And you all know that the schedule for the week is that parties run all week, leading up to a grand parade throughout all sectors of the city, resulting and ending in the largest and grandest party of them all, right here at Lust. So as you can see, the preparation is frantic and gearing up to make the largest party of the year. And in the center of it all is Lust themselves, directing traffic and preparing for said largest party. Each leader of the faction does not have an identity of their own, that at least is known publicly, and is named after their faction, known for their faction. Lust turns at the sight of the party, grinning from ear to ear. Currently, a slender elf, their face ripples like water in a pond, settling into the facade of a masculine human. The smile, though, never changes. It is not unfriendly, but has a slight sharpness to it that speaks to how easily this person could consume just about anyone in front of them. My minions, they crow, approaching with arms wide. Well, one arm as the other directs an approaching dwarf laden with fabrics of all colors away from their path and toward a corner of the massive tent, shooing them away from you all. I thought you'd never get here, and sadly I must send you on your errands quickly, as you have been tasked by Lust, paid well, to gather the rest of the donations from each of the sins, as well as be the escort for the champion of the parade. But today is all about, unfortunately, some errands. Their face shifts again to a more neutrally presenting Githyanki, but the sharp smile and engaging look in their eyes does not change. Be dears and check on the other sins for me. Collect what material donations they have and confirm the bigger things you can't bring back. The parade is tomorrow and nothing can be missed. And they will hold out a sheet of parchment that has the list of who owes them what. And I will drop that if my computer will allow me. That's not how I wanted that to happen, but that's okay. Into Discord. It's not in table form, but that's okay. Let me know if you can't read it.
Nope, that's fine.
Collecting donations is nothing new for this kind of camaraderie in the city, especially for a party like Pride. Lust continues as they hand over the sheet of parchment and says, "Oh, and see if you can get them to pull anything else out of their deep pockets. Word is that the Coalescence is starting to tighten their grip around the city, and I won't have those meddlers ruining my party. Our party, if you manage to talk to Pride and not one of his assistants. Can't get him to finally agree that it is my party and not just his, because it's his name. But we'll need all hands on deck for tomorrow, and I expect them all to pitch in more than was promised. And I expect you to get them to deliver. Now be dears, run along and get out of my way." They pause for just a moment, giving you just a brief second to ask any questions or have any responses.
I have none.
I'm contemplating whether I could actually eat this person.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we take the list, and Envy is the closest, so let's start there.
They blow you a kiss as the moment passes and vanish off into the crowd. You all have your list and you have your map.
Too skinny, not enough meat.
Not everything is food.
It can be.
Not everything consents to be food.
Well, yeah, obviously you ask first.
Pretty sure that answer was going to be a big fat no. Or, in this case, a very skinny no.
I mean...
Hey, don't shame.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know.
You don't know what people are into.
Because I am the most boring and vanilla of this group. Fair enough.
Envy.
I look around and shout for Imp, who up until this point has been invisible, but appears like almost under my heels, and I take the list and almost in like a sickly sweet voice, like way too nice. I say, Imp, be a dear and hold that for us. And he takes it.
Just takes it and holds it very close, kind of crouched at your ankles, just waiting.
Okay.
Have
Where
we
do I want
had
to start?
dealings with these people before? Any of them?
Um, not so much from big the head honchos themselves, the big seven.
Mhm.
Your group has done some mingling with pretty much everybody, I would say, whether it's a contract here, a favor there, unless you all have decided otherwise and are dedicated to someone specifically, you all kind of are freelancers throughout the city. You have heard, obviously, and are very well read in the politics of Oxenfree.
Mm.
So none of this comes to a surprise. You don't know if you necessarily know who each of the sins are or look like, what they look like. Um, Depending on a history check, maybe. Uh, you can decide based on your own character's background if they would be involved in some way.
Well, Captain Current gets barrels of beer from Gluttony sometimes. They they have some pretty good stuff. I mean, I'm a little bit familiar with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had that beer before. I don't really remember anything about the experience afterwards, but
Isn't that the point, though?
That's
pretty sure.
usually means the beer is good.
Yeah. But that means I can't really say that I am familiar.
Oh,
Well,
I mean, I don't really drink, but I play the music and everybody else seems to have a good time.
what do these people have to provide? Some of them are just commitments.
You don't think they expect us to hand out those flyers, do they?
I doubt it.
No, there should be people for
They
that.
That's other people's jobs.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think
think
our
it's
job is to just make sure
get
it's
them.
being done.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to just pick them up and then hand them off to the person who has to stand in the corner in the hot sun.
Sucks for that guy.
So Envy first. It's
Sure. And just go
Yeah,
clockwise around the path? Or counterclockwise? No, clockwise.
Agreed.
clockwise. Because there's only one way across the
Correct.
river.
Is correct. Unless you want to, well, even if you want to take the long way around. Alright.
So yeah, we head towards Envy's end of this park garden.
Garden is probably a better term. It's far more manicured than like
Mm.
a
Can you
small
tell where
forest
you
or
crossed
thicket.
over? Like where you cross over, is it visible because it's Envy? So obviously everything is like meticulously
Yeah.
staged.
Yeah, as you all cross the lawns, Lust has a little bit more romanticism to it, to those grounds. A lot more roses, a lot more flowers that are pretty, that don't really have a magical component reason to be around. They're there for the smell and the image. Same with most shrubbery. It's very rare as you're passing through Lust to see any sort of plant that doesn't have some sort of fruit or flower or its own kind of aesthetic. As you pass into Envy and pass kind of what seems to be some sort of boundary or threshold, you notice that not only do does the greenery change, but so do the people. There's still some commingling, especially on a day like today where they're preparing for this large party that's going to be on these grounds. But as you pass over to Envy, you see a lot more people with certainly a lot more clothing. And the gardens transition a little bit more from the just topiaries and flowers to be flowers kind of mentality to what is clearly a garden for a purpose. Not necessarily for food, because that's not Envy's jazz. But you see plants that have labels and plants that are grand, but still clearly meant for use. And you see, yeah, very meticulous, very not a petal out of place, not a leaf out of place. You see far more gardeners around than you did in Lust. And at the corner of this large, more low hedge maze alongside this kind of garden, where everything is in order and kind of just logistically placed, is a large building. Less of a festival vibe that Lust has in their buildings and their tents and things like that. Envy is very much more structured and kind of reminds you almost like a typical wizard's abode. Not so much columns, but definitely still that stone facade, a green roof, tiled roof, little more scholarly here, although still busy for preparing for the party.
As we walk, I want to keep an eye out for whomever seems to be directing other people. The Karen of the place. I'm looking for the Karen because with everything this meticulously placed and arranged and set and staged, there has to be somebody who's basically shouting at someone because they put the white flowers in the wrong vase. I'm gonna look for that person as we're walking into the space, and then I guess if we head into any of the buildings.
Perfect. Go ahead and roll me a perception check. Anybody else?
You're doing it all wrong. The tulips go white, white, yellow, pink, pink, yellow, white. You idiot.
That person.
It's the person I want to stay away from. What the hell is wrong with you?
I would like to look for not necessarily the person in charge, but maybe like the person with the list that looks panicked, like they have to answer to the person in charge. To see if we can.
The person fervently like rearranging flowers. Shit.
The one who looks most worried, sort of along the same veins as our imp friend sometimes does.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a perception check. What was yours?
15.
15. Wonderful.
19.
All right. Excuse me. As you all get closer to this building, you do notice that excuse me. Stream is gonna hear my computer beep. Yep. My headphones are dying. As you approach this building, you do see that most of the fervor does seem to be outside, unlike in Lust, where The activity, while sort of outside, was mostly inside the grand tent that they were in. This seems to be more focused on the gardens themselves. And you see pretty easily, Iris, you spot your target first as a small halfling with a clipboard is rushes over to a nearby bush and starts waving her hand as to turn all of the roses a shade of green, light green, as opposed to the yellow that they have deigned to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks a bit, I would say, panicked. She does that and then ducks under a group of people holding a set of people holding large vases. Um, and immediately she ducks under them and then turns around almost in this like frantic spin and snaps at them to put those on the patio, not in the direction that they were supposed to be.
Um, without saying anything, Iris automatically just like like following a person that like knows where they're going and just starts walking off in a different direction, but she's skipping. And her walking speed is 35 feet. So she's skipping at a fairly quick pace as her hoofs like clip clop on the ground. She just skips towards them as they're changing the roses different colors. And with the worry that they might jet off in another direction, she kind of motions like this and casts Mage Hand to ding 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 tap them on the shoulder
They look
as she
they kind of look into a spin.
and she waves as she's skipping towards them. Hello, hi.
Yes. Can I help you?
I surely you can. You look like somebody who is in the midst of following a list of things you were given to organize, and all of it needs to be done immediately. So that kind of makes me think that you might be taking orders from Envy.
That is correct. How can I help you?
Well, we were sent by Lust, who, as you know, is organizing all of the Pride celebrations. And so I was wondering if you could point me in the direction of Envy so we could go have a little conversation with them. Also, that rose was a lot prettier when it was still yellow. You should have left it for sure.
She takes a deep breath. Envy is not available for anyone. They are currently too
It's
busy getting this place perfect for tomorrow.
right. And it looks great, and we're here to help that. So we need to see Envy with haste.
I would like to uh come up behind, and I'm going to cast Friends,
Okay.
and I'm going to say, I know you're busy. We don't want to take up too much of your time. This will only take a minute, and it is official party business.
Both of you go ahead and roll persuasion checks. Tina, as they are approaching this young halfling, you spot off, probably about like 50 feet off, coming out of the building itself, a Yuan-Ti, humanoid, but still those snake-like features, who's holding themselves very much, um, very much like a cobra that is kind of like sitting up, that very tall and, you know, bigger than they may be, kind of presentation, walking out of the building in these great billowing robes, a book strapped, as the robes kind of billow open, you see a book tucked underneath, up against their ribs, and they are talking to a handful of other very clearly harried assistants that are kind of clustered around them. Court and Dustin, what did you roll for persuasion checks?
Dirty 20.
29.
Good God. Yeah.
I just put it to you this way. The lowest I can get on persuasion or deception is a dirty 20.
Love it.
Mm.
All right.
But I rolled a 19 and I have a
Okay.
plus 10.
All right. She looks at you both for a second and looks a little overwhelmed as you both kind of converge on her. And she looks down at her clipboard and says, "Well, I'm really not supposed to let anyone inside.
Oh, I'm really good at sneaking. I could have just slipped past you.
I guess if it's for lust, envy should be inside. But don't tell them that I let you through."
Your secret is safe with us. And
Iris
I
kind of like,
believe.
yeah, Iris like takes off her hat that's like got a large like feather on it. Just like kind of gives a little bow. And then she takes out of her little satchel a piece of saltwater taffy. Here, you look like you could use something sweet just to get you through the day. It's strawberry flavored. It's the best one.
Thank you. I will make time in my schedule to enjoy it. And she scurries off.
She'll skip off after Wim. And they're inside.
Is this snake lady outside or inside, or
As
did they just emerge?
Just emerged.
Just kind of nod. That one.
Do you think Envy's a snake person?
Figures.
I mean, there seems to be a lot of frantic-looking assistants around them. Some of them kind of look terrified, actually. Come to think of it.
Cool. Let's go say hi. And she just like skips off in that direction.
I fucking hate satyrs. They're the worst. Bunch of bubbly bastards.
Did we decide that Iris and Dermot were cousins too?
Yep, they're cousins.
They had like 500 fucking family members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dermot's cousins with everybody. All satyrs.
Statistically, you are more likely to be Dermot's cousin than not.
Yeah.
And that goes for like any creature
Is that
on
like-
any plane.
Is he like Genghis Khan, where like statistically the majority
Yes.
of the
Like
planet?
Charlemagne, if you go back far enough.
Oh my gosh.
Or like Rollo the Viking, like
Yep.
There's only a few people. You know, when the world had a lot less people in it,
Yeah.
eventually things start to converge.
So and then everyone goes like, "Oh, are you satyrs related?"
Yeah.
And you can't even be mad and
No.
say it's a stereotype because the answer is,
Just-
well, yeah.
yeah.
The answer
You may be, like,
is
10
I don't
times-
know, probably.
Probably. You're like 10 times removed.
Either that or they have really, really intricate kinship charts. Like
Yeah.
there's everyone
have
knows
to.
exactly
Yeah.
how closely related you are.
That's the material plane. Feywild. Fairies, not so much. They kind of just shotgun kids out without really like caring. Material plane fairies, probably a little more careful.
Oh Lord.
As she's skipping over to the Yuan Ti snake person, she is strumming the Rainbow Connection on her mandolin.
We
And she
never
just kind of
stealth
goes,
anywhere, do we? We never stealth.
"Oh, sometimes when I need
I
to."
try.
They're the
Actually, you
distraction
guys
for
make
you.
yeah, you guys are excellent distractions. I appreciate that so much.
Oh, I can make you real stealthy, Owen. I have a
I
spell.
mean, already pretty stealthy, but thanks.
Oh,
I'm
but I
almost
have
insulted that you implied that I need assistance.
You don't, but like, I can make it so that they don't even, they literally can't even see you if they wanted to.
Okay, we can try that out later.
Okay. And she just like, as she's skipping over to the Yuan Ti, she literally goes, "Yoo-hoo!"
Immediately, the assistants like close rank and like stand. They all turn to kind of face you all and stand. But the funny thing is that this Yuan-Ti kind of just towers over most of them. Um, and they look at you. Everybody, all of them. There's probably about 5 people there total, plus the Yuan-Ti. All of them laden with like notebooks or clipboards or some sort of organizational template, and immediately turn and face ranks to you all.
Are you Envy?
The group of assistants look at each other and then look up at the one Yuan-Ti, who just kind of gives this look.
Okay, well, I have this thing, and she plucks like a feather from the brim of her hat. It's like a seagull feather that's probably like this long. I got this from a seabird, and I know you like quills and stuff because you seem to be a wizard, and wizards like things they can write with. Anyway, Lust said this, but I also thought you might like this feather to write in your book with, if you'll give us a couple minutes of your time.
Roll me a persuasion check with advantage. Not that you need it.
25.
Jesus. The Yuan-Ti nudges the one of the assistants in front of them, who kind of stumbles for a second and then reaches out and takes the feather from you and turns and hands it to their their employer. Flattery will clearly get you everywhere here. What does Lust want?
Well, as you know, Lust is the sponsor for the parade and the final party for everything. And they said that you were kind enough to loan the venues and supposed to be passing out flyers, and they just wanted us to make sure that everything was in order. Is it in order?
Of course it's in order. They should be worrying
You
about
know,
any of the other sins.
I could tell that it was probably in order just by the wonderful order that all of your gardens are in. Um, but it would be really cool if you let some of the flowers stay their colors instead of turning them all green.
I will take that into consideration in a tone that means that they will not be taking any consideration.
Cool. Anyway, can we tell them that you've dispatched your employees? She's clearly refraining from saying like underlings or servants.
Alright.
To hand out the flyers? Are they handing out the flyers right now? Can I see one of the flyers? I just want it for my scrapbook.
She just lets you talk and enjoys the silence for a moment. Go fetch a stack of the flyers. And one of the servants heals off and dashes inside. Coming back soon after, and hands you a stack. Not a sizable, probably, 25 or so. Like, clearly having a smaller stack than probably what you've all kind of seen some around. And actually, as you all look at it, these are familiar enough that you see that they've been pretty well distributed around the city.
Oh, yeah, I saw these at the bookstore the other day. Cool.
Lust shouldn't be sending their babysitters here. But I will
Oh,
let it
don't feel
slide.
bad. It's not just you. We're visiting all the Sims.
Well, I'm sure Pride will love that, and you will have quite a job on your hands.
Oh, yeah, I might let Wim deal with them because, she can whip anybody into shape. Usually they like it too.
I'm sure.
They ask her to do it.
But yes, the venues are ready, obviously, as you can see. And most of the flyers are out. My teams have carpeted the city. No one will be unaware of the goings on today and tomorrow. You may keep those. Take them back to your employer?
And friend.
Sure.
There is one other question that I had. It does look like we had you down for the venues and the flyers, but those were the only two things. I would have assumed that uh, a a sin as illustrious as yourself would do everything they could to contribute the most to the festivities. Were you planning on providing any additional entertainment or decorations for the parade or parties, just so that we could make note of that?
Contribute more. I am contributing quite a bit. I'm letting these people party in my lawns, invade my home. Surely Lust can do with what I've given.
Well, I mean no offense. I'm only thinking, just for an example, um, Wrath is already contributing escorts and guards for to be positioned along the entire parade route. Um, Gluttony is providing all of the food booths during and after the parade. I understand that there are quite a number of those. Um, and I just wanted to make sure that our notes were going to reflect your sizable contributions in their entirety.
Why is Lust looking for more? Surely they could have brought that up the last time we met.
I I imagine Lust is always looking for more. Is there more to be given?
Only persuasion check.
Uh, 16.
Okay. With me. Perhaps I can contribute a little more, considering how charitable I am. What would you have in mind?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, considering that you will already have people finishing to pass out flyers and finishing final preparations on all of the venues, that they might be tasked with um, hanging or distributing additional decorations, perhaps markers for the parade route or other decorations or um, pyrotechnics for the end of the parade or the rest of the party tomorrow evening.
Oh, pyrotechnics would be cool.
Would be rather extravagant, wouldn't it?
What if you
Very
got the kind that
memorable.
spell things out? You could say envy across the sky.
I'm certain everyone will be quite jealous of what you accomplished.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll one more persuasion check. I'll say with advantage. Of the three, not Dustin. You just rolled.
I did just.
You guys,
roll.
I can do it. Otherwise, one of you can.
You probably have a much higher bonus than I do.
Iris is way more persuasive than
I
me.
do have a plus 10. uh, I rolled a 19, so 29.
29 again. Love it.
And I thought my measly +7 was a good bonus.
These dice like Iris so much more than they like Helia, y'all.
Listen, you can't out persuade a bard.
Well, the college that she is has this like silver tongue feat where
Yeah.
if you're doing persuasion
Mhm.
and deception, anything below a 9 is a 9 or below is treated as a 10.
That'll do it. Yuanti kind of gives this little like shift in their posture and says, "Fine, tell Lust that I will contribute an end of the evening fireworks show."
Cool. We look forward to it.
Also, let's write that down.
Like how everybody's going to the chat to make that note.
Mm-hmm.
I see Sam. I see. I started to write. I see Road starting to write.
And because I can't be outshone,
Mm.
I'll make sure that it's not quite. No, they should be able to. Some of the landlords in my employ will have some rest spots throughout the parade. I'm sure I can convince them to open their doors. Should anyone need anything. And surely no one will say that envy's not charitable.
That is most generous of you to think of everybody's well-being and rest. We'll definitely make sure that they know that the rest areas are sponsored by Envy.
Lovely. Now get off of my property.
Please enjoy that quill. It's taken from a seabird called a seagull.
I shall. They took it, put it in their pocket.
I just give like a flourishing bow, and then turn to leave.
You all
The
head.
ending is gonna be insane. I'm just imagining. You know she's gonna have on every single one of these shops a sponsored by Envy sign. Something made up in the next 12 hours. She is going to run all those little halflings ragged.
Yeah, we definitely just added to that poor halfling's to-do list.
Whoops.
They'll be fine.
They looked like they were going to explode. Like, literally explode. They had that look about them where, like, one more thing and they were just gonna, like,
Well, if they didn't waste their time turning all those pretty flowers green, they would have more time in their day. Flowers are meant to be different colors. I'm just saying. Anyway, where are we going next?
Pride and Greed.
Pride.
Yeah.
Who
Pride first.
apparently we're gonna have problems with.
Might as well just go around the circle.
Yep. Pride.
All
You
right.
would think they would, be overly enthusiastic given the event.
You would think.
All of the free publicity.
Seriously.
Since Lust is doing all the work.
Maybe don't say that to Pride's face. I don't think that's going to help our case.
Or will it?
You all cross through the rest of Envy's territory, across the main West Road, and into Pride. Pride is not hard to find, as it is very prominent on the main road. A large, large, large building. Unlike the Grove, where Lust and Envy are, Pride is very clearly cut out. Nothing blocking the gorgeous gem-colored facades. The colors in bright blues and teals and purples, reminiscent of a peacock. The building itself has a large, if seen from above, it has a large gem-shaped roof with those jewel tones. And as with the other camps, you do see a flurry of activity coming in and out of the building, setting it up, cleaning, making sure that the entire place is spotless.
Is Pride themselves out and about, or do we mostly see just the hustle and bustle of the cleaning crews, etc.?
Roll me a perception check.
Go look see.
A little
It's
look.
okay. 15.
24.
Phenomenal. Iris, you get
He
a
look
little.
good. He no talk good.
That's not what he's here for.
Yeah.
Iris, you see mostly the hustle and bustle. It's still kind of crazy here. You get kind of lost in a little bit of the cacophony that's over here. While the vibe is not with Envy, it was a bit of intimidation and flusteredness of just that was kind of the vibe. Here is similar, but a little more frantic in their perfectionism. Owen, looking at the crowds, you do notice a specific pattern that's happening here. There is a lot of people walking mostly out with goods, boxes of fabric and clothing already made, that seem to be kind of starting to disseminate to other buildings. You see like very clearly there is some sort of exchange happening here where people are walking in seemingly empty-handed, or at least with like pouches and bags, and walking out with goods for the most part. You don't spot. Go ahead and roll me a history check.
That one he's not so good at. Okay, 13.
13's fine. You know that Pride is a humanoid-looking man. Seemingly human, but there have always been whispers of him having a slightly more heavenly glow about him. You do not see that figure outside.
All right. Well, it looks like we'll have to head in. I don't see anyone that fits the description out here.
Are there
So we'll...
there open doors? Like,
Yeah. The doors are very clearly like open. Actually, at this point, the doors are pretty much propped open just because of the absolute traffic that's happening. In and out, they might as well just be propped open.
we should follow the crowds in.
You follow the crowds in and are met with this almost wide open space. There are, like the building that it looks like on the map, there's an entryway and then this large, huge room almost. And in the room itself is very open concept of just not booths, not like merchant booths, but clearly like artisans and suppliers, and like the idea of like a stereotypical fashion house that has just like racks of clothing that people are pulling from and like plucking and seemingly like shopping, so to speak. That's clearly what this place looks like. It is organized chaos for sure. You see just racks of fabric, boot stalls, but they're not like merchant stalls of just like gems and necklaces, rings. Almost like you see it's almost like a wholesale kind of like supplier store, because you see merchants, and like you guys have been here long enough, you spot like familiar faces of merchants doing supply shopping, basically shopping for their wares to bring back to their shops themselves.
My God. Are
So
we
we're
at
in a
Luella Costco?
giant
Yeah, you're
Pride
absolutely at a
Costco.
Costco. More like, you guys know in New York. So in New York, there's like a fabric district, and there are like shops that are just like floor to ceiling fabric. It's very much that vibe, but fabrics, jewels, just like general finery. This stuff is not your average, like, not your mama's clothing.
It's not the, Wish
definitely
or
Yeah.
Mama's clothing.
Temu version.
Not the Temu version. This is definitely Saks Fifth Avenue fabric shop, floor to ceiling, all kinds of stuff just everywhere. In seemingly organized chaos.
So we stick out like a sore thumb.
Oh, you look a little lost for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Speak for yourselves. I look good.
I mean, you all look good. You just look like you don't necessarily,
It's like when the intern from the fashion house gets sent to the fabric store on the first day, and it's 8 stories of you just no idea. You just need to go pick up. You were told to come here and pick up the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
No specifics.
None whatsoever.
Is there anyone around that looks like they're I don't know, it's a receptionist desk or something? A help desk? Directory?
Roll me a perception check.
A directory.
26.
Fantastic. You see, looking around, trying to spot like somebody who works here, not somebody who's clearly shopping. You see um a very slender elf with glasses, um, her hair pulled back in this very like elegant bun, very clearly put together, and her image is the thing. Her clothes are very much clearly come from here, or a merchant that does their, you know, does their business here. But she, as just like the halfling in Envy, has a clipboard and seems to be
All the
directing people as they approach.
all the assistants get one. There's an assigned clipboard that you
Yeah,
get.
pretty much.
Standard
Uh,
issue.
Oh.
I suppose
Owen
greed
will.
purchases them, and you have to buy in bulk to save money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair.
They probably had
Uh,
a coupon too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Greed is totally an extreme couponer.
100%.
those stockpiles in just rooms in their house, and
Uh huh.
basement, and oh
Doomsday
my god.
prepper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They open the garage and it's filled with like Amazon resale.
Yeah.
But Owen will just indicate to the more talkative members of the group that he's found an actual employee, not a customer.
Uh, I'll approach and just say, "Excuse me, we're looking for Pride."
She'll kind of give this like a little snarky smile and say, "Rides all around you, dear. Welcome to the season. What do you want?"
We would like to speak to Pride. We've been sent by Lust.
Oh, wouldn't everyone love to speak to Pride? Do you have an appointment?
We do not, but I'm sure we are expected.
Really? What makes you say that?
Oh, we're helping organize the events, and Lust has sent us on some errands to make sure that everything is going smoothly.
I need this person to make a wisdom saving throw.
An 8?
8?
Yep.
I would suggest that you take us to Pride.
Her eyes.
Suggest being the operative word here.
That's what I figured. Her eyes kind of glaze over for a moment, and she right this way, and turns on her heel and heads deeper into the stacks.
As they're walking, Iris is playing Get the Party Started by Pink on her man. Just like
As you all are led further in, you see that the roof of this place is actually stained glass and just lets in this amazing natural light from outside. Making this feel less like somewhere you might die if a stack falls over, and more like a mecca for those who have true taste. You are led through what seems to be slightly maze-like areas until you spot in the back, at the very end of this room, a raised platform that marble steps lead up to, and naturally an extravagant throne, where a humanoid male is lounging. You see he is blonde hair, um, almost glowing in a halo. Um, Finery in its most extravagance of shined boots, not a stitch out of place. And every so often, when somebody comes up, he will gesture with a flick of his hand and then go back to watching um, the chaos in front of him. The elf that was leading you comes up to the stairs and gives a slight kind of bend of the knee. Shockingly more formal than you all are used to, even with the Sins. They're not royalty, they're mafiosos. Dangerous, but not royalty. Um, and she looks up at this figure and says, Pride, Lust has sent some errand people for you. They were sent to speak to
Colleagues.
you. And she will step aside.
I step forward and with a similar bow, bend of the knee, um, I will introduce myself. You can call me Wim. It is an esteemed pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Well, now you're just laying it on really thick, aren't you? And he sits like
Don't lie, you like it.
he had been like draped over the arms of this throne, and he swings his legs around to sit up, um, and looks at each of you. And you see that the light that seems to be kind of almost radiating, like you first take the light that's kind of shining off of him as the natural light coming down from the ceiling. But as he shifts, it's almost like he's giving off that halo. Well, I know Lust didn't send you here to stroke my ego. So what is it you
No, I do that
want?
because I want to.
I like you. Maybe you should stick around. You don't work for Lust all the time, do you?
Only when it suits me.
Mm.
We were sent to confirm a number of details for the parade and festivities for tomorrow. Um, According to our documentation, you are providing the costume for Ox.
Only the best.
And we would expect nothing less. Um, I do have one question. Um, is there anything else that you're contributing? Just being a co-sponsor, obviously the parade is named after you, and Ox's costume. I just want to double check, make sure that all of our documentation is in order and accurate. So I didn't know if there was anything that I was unaware of that you are contributing to your festivities.
You know, it's quite funny being asked if I'm contributing any more from Lust, who refuses to give me my parade, as is truly named after me. That's fine.
Well, this would be your chance to one up them, wouldn't it? Really claim the name of Pride. I mean, Envy's agreed to put on a pretty awesome fireworks show. You don't want to let them outshow you, do you?
That uptight snake. But you got anything from them?
Well, surely somebody as shiny as yourself. I'd really like to know how you do that because it's really cool. Um, would want to be the brightest star in the sky, or the most decorated float at the parade, shall we say.
Let me guess. You're going around and shaking down all of the sins for more money, more resources, and appealing
Haven't
to their
shaken.
best interests.
We haven't really shaken anything
Yet.
except our booties when I strum my little guitar.
I mean, if you want to get shook, all you have to do is ask.
Yeah, Wim's really good at shaking. She makes you have a safe word though, so that if you want to stop being shaken,
It's
that might
also
not be
okay
what
to
you're
just say
asking
no to
about.
her.
Roll me a persuasion check.
20.
Don't have everything in one document. Well, I can't let that snake outshine me, you're right. Must mention that you all are escorting our captain of the parade. Is that right?
Hmm.
It is.
Dressed like that.
Do you not like my hat?
Are
That's
you
just fine.
insinuating that all of the sins would have custom made pride regalia? With yours being the most extravagant, of course.
Mine will, of course, be extravagant and perfect. I don't know about the other sins. Clearly, Lust has decided not to outfit you appropriately. Although I'm sure if Lust had it their way, you would be walking the streets naked.
I consider this a win as it is.
He winks at you, Owen, just like a small wink. Fine. And he claps his hands. I won't do it into the microphone, but very loudly claps his hands. And immediately you watch as the nearest groups of people that's surrounding the area, whether they were looking like they were potentially shopping or clearly like the elf where they were working and like attending to Pride and their wares and his wares and everything like that, at the sound of his clapping, the noise and conversation immediately stop and they all turn immediately at attention.
Whoa, that's a cool spell.
He points to the elf that had escorted you. We'll talk to you later about letting uninvited guests in. However, go fetch the costume for Ox. You, and you take measurements, get them dressed accordingly. And immediately, you all are surrounded by attendants. Like, full on invading personal space as they start taking measurements and chattering to one another about colors and just overall just trying like immediate just overwhelmingness of somebody like just instant get to work.
I mean, don't go crazy. Whatever you put on me will probably just end up with bloodstains. That's why I just stick with black usually. It hides that.
As Wim just immediately starts getting manhandled, she just lets out like a, "Ooh, is this what it feels like on the other side?"
And as soon as it starts, they immediately, like, almost in tandem, like a race car pit crew.
Mm.
They come in, they do the work, and they immediately step back. And you watch as they, like, small groups of 2 or 3 are still chatting to one another, like, no, this, no, purple will look awful on them. No, this will match their eyes. Yada yada yada, etc. And immediately, like, Pride is just sitting and watching, claps his hands again, full attention from the group. Do your work, have it done by morning. The rest of you, and he looks at the group, will have your additional donation in the morning. I'll deliver it. I'll have it delivered to Lust for you. Is that all?
And let no one say that Pride didn't pull out all of the stops for a party in his honor. And I give another, like, flourishing bow.
Now get out of my face.
Why do they all keep saying to get out of their face? We're not in their face.
What they mean is they don't want us here.
Well, I mean, for a group of people that has to work together, they're very difficult. It's not like we're asking for unicorns or something. That would be really cool, though. Do you think?
I'm
And
sure
she looks at Lilliput. Do you think that you can make your unicorn show up?
Perhaps it's not really a. It's not really the type of thing that kind of comes on call. It's weird though that it's been the same one so many times. But I could. We could hope. It it could be other things though. Some of them not so good.
That's fair.
I don't want to, you know, with the large boom again.
If it were glitter instead of fire, it would be cooler.
Oh God, I heard them talking about glitter when they were doing all the measuring and the hair and the. I heard someone mention moose. I don't know.
Right.
Shall we continue?
You all are escorted out of Pride.
Where the hell's the costume we were supposed to pick up?
As you are brought out and away from that throne, um the one who had been sent to go get it, the elf,
Now unemployed.
kind of comes out of nowhere and holding a large kind of garment bag essentially, and hands it off to you all. It is definitely a costume meant for someone larger than pretty much all of you. But she hands it off as she walks you out.
Is there like a zipper?
Yeah, there's
Like,
like a zipper and everything, like, to
peer and
protect it.
secure inside at this thing.
The garment bag is very, like, it is larger, but it seems bigger on the inside as you open it. Like, there is a lot of clothing happening here. A lot of fabric. You see a pair of shoes at the bottom. You see just a lot of color, a lot of robe. It almost looks like a set of robes Not quite wizardy, and certainly not tailored like Envy's necessarily. A little more naturally fitting.
Is it flashy? Like,
Kind of flashy. There's like this when you walk outside and the sun hits you all, there you can see that like the color in these robes is very fluid. As it moves, it gives off different colors. And then as the sunlight hits it directly, you see sparkles.
I would have thought that it would be, you know, more.
Maybe there's magic in it.
I mean, I know I'm the boring hetero one of the group, but I'm pretty sure it's a stereotype that everything has to be rainbows and glitter.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point of this parade, to be loud and proud, you know? And this kind of seems like
Hmm. So with a different angle, more iridescent than rainbow.
And it could have special features.
hmm, hopefully. Well,
Presumably, it comes with instructions of some kind.
should we go to Wrath? Kind of not looking forward to this one.
Uh, Greed would be next.
Greed. Oh, yes, greed. We need to get money from them.
Um,
That's what I'm not looking forward to.
Hmm.
I feel like they've been putting off paying this invoice for a while.
Before you all head to greed, it is 8:15, so we're gonna take a
Mm,
quick five.
Fight
Um,
5.
good idea.
type 5.
Yeah.
And then we will be back for more schmoozing and
Yes.
persuasion and hopefully some other shenanigans. So give us 5 minutes or so and we shall be back.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Oh no, they're here again.
We're here again.
What's my safe word? Did I agree to this?
Yes, you did.
You didn't tell me your safe word. I only know Imp's safe word.
I think it was Pinochle.
It was definitely not Pinochle. That word gets said far too often.
All right.
Mm.
The party as we know it has gone through envy, pride, and has also visited lust, and still has a handful of other sins to go visit and solicit for further donations to tomorrow's festivities. The
Yep.
team heads to Greed. Uh, those that have been in Oxenfree a while, which is most of you, know that Greed sits in the original banking building. So the view of this, he kind of just leaned into it. And I say the title is passed down from that nobody's quite sure how, but it is inherited. So I guess the original Greed thought, you know what? We're just gonna lay into this. No surprises here. No witty metaphors or otherwise. Just leaning into it. Um, this building is free and open. Not as much hustle and bustle. Certainly, kind of just the usual traffic. As you approach, there seems to be. Excuse me. There seems to be people of all walks heading here, not just employees or members of the faction itself. As you head up a set of stairs and into a large, again, relatively open building, pretty similar to any kind of stereotypical standard bank. Grand marble flooring, uh, offshoots and other staircases that lead off and away or down and away. Um, the occasional desk with somebody sitting there counting stacks of coins or gems. Um, this seems to be the core center for financials for Oxenfree. I will say, unlike the other factions, you do notice, and I'll give this to everybody, no need to roll perception check. You do notice a coalescence presence as well. Soldiers standing guard at the front doors, as well as scattered throughout the main lobby, so to speak. All wearing similar uniforms of gray with a particular coat of arms on the bless you on the left shoulder piece of their armor. All are armed. All are rather stoic. Nobody's causing any trouble or anything like that, but they are definitely there to keep an eye on the valuables and potentially keep the peace. Um, what's everyone's passive perceptions?
17.
11.
16.
13.
11.
11. Owen, you notice with a little bit of eye rolling that the while the coalescence guards are sporting the coat of arms of the coalescence, which is an amalgamation of unity and representative of the members of the coalescence council, you notice that these uniforms are rather new and are sporting uh piping along the edges in rainbow thread.
Wow. Guess they tried to get into the spirit of things.
They should go to Pride.
Do you mean the festival or the?
They should have them make their uniforms.
Gotcha. Okay, that one. It's very confusing this month. Very confusing.
Let's see.
Um,
Let's see. Somebody.
you see, I'll give it to you all. It's rather it's very trying to think of the best way to describe the vibe in this place. I would say organized chaos, but there's not a whole lot of chaos. It's not as chaotic as Pride of people running around and buying things. It's not like Lust where it's like directing, just a sea of people. It's certainly not Envy in its almost like meticulousness, but it is still very much like people know where they're going, know what they're doing.
It's not so rigid, but it is deliberate.
Yes. And I will say anyone with a passive perception over 12 does hear a sound of a booming male voice coming from like the center of this room, of this large like main room, main area. It almost echoes amongst all of the pillars of marble, and you can hear the words pretty clearly of this source saying, I don't care if Pride himself brought these gems. They need to be evaluated and stored properly. Got it? And then you hear boots on the tile as somebody walks towards more off from the side, more towards the center through what crowd there is.
So, can I roll a history check to see like what the word on the street is about greed?
Absolutely, go ahead.
19.
19. Phenomenal roll. Word on the street is greed is probably one of the more known sins. Not necessarily by reputation, but known throughout the city to be the person you have to go to if you want to do anything. He is in charge of the financials. You know that he is a dwarf who is known to, while not in charge of the merchants or landlords like Envy is, does favor them when it comes to financials and other sorts of like investments or growing the money. Anybody that makes money is a friend of this dwarf. You don't get the same, and you also know, I'll give this to you too with a 19. You know that his reputation is not as necessarily fear-based as Pride or Wrath could be. But definitely not someone you would want to necessarily cross. In mobsters' terms, they wouldn't send a a group of people to take you out, but you may go sleep with the fishes very quietly with this kind of person.
Okay.
And I'll say with your passive, you do spot a dwarf and the noise of his shoes hitting the tile floor, coming through the crowds as the crowds kind of almost part for him.
Well, I think we found the man in charge.
Yeah, I'll walk right up to him and like walk right up to him, extend my hand and shake his. He seems like a businessman. Um, and say, greed, I presume.
Well, hello there, and he looks up at you. And takes your hand and gives it just a little bit more, like just enough of a squeeze that you feel your knuckles kind of clack against each other a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough to hurt, but enough to kind of like.
Enough to be a slightly firmer handshake than I give him.
Yeah, for sure.
And I say, Lust sent us around just to check on things and cross the T's, dot the I's for the parade and all the other festivities for tomorrow. Do you have a minute?
Insufferable changeling. Sure. But you're gonna have to walk and talk at the same time. And
Lead
he
the way.
immediately starts, you watch as he's walking, kind of just leading your group and you all through this crowd. He's navigating it relatively well, although it's easy when the people like will immediately step out of his way. He's a larger gentleman, like most dwarves, pretty stocky built. So carving a path through the patrons of this place is not difficult, but they seem to give him an extra wide berth. As you proceed.
Iris plays these boots are made for walking as he starts leading him through the crowd.
I love when you play a bard. Can I just tell you that? Like, I don't need you to sing. I just need you to give me the song references.
That's good because I
So
can't sing
good.
for shit.
They're so good.
We will make the playlist on Spotify later.
Yeah, please tell me that you are writing these down so we can make the playlist later. As you all are moving about, he's paying attention to you, but clearly doing business. Business is first. He stops at a desk, tells that person to, no, you need to carry the one. Don't forget, blah, blah, blah. Platinum doesn't equal 15, it's 10. Like some sort of conversion math of something that my brain will not do. That kind of thing.
Remember, we don't deal in Electrum. Electrum fucking sucks.
You see him slam his hand down on a desk, and the whole place goes quiet for a second. And he says, "What is this?" And he looks at the clerk, and it is a piece of Electrum. We don't deal in this garbage. Get it exchanged back. And he slaps it down.
Want real money.
Slaps it down on the desk and continues moving.
Not this Monopoly.
Like,
but it's legitimate currency. It's legal.
Yeah, so is a $2 bill, but nobody fucking uses those.
That's like when you get a fucking 50-cent piece,
Yeah.
and it's like, I can't even put this in a vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the gold.
Or the dollar coins.
The dollar coins.
Those things are bullshit, too.
Yep. You get change
If a
in
vending
dollar
machine
coin.
won't take it, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
That goes for pennies, too.
Well, pennies should not exist anymore.
Pennies shouldn't
like
exist
most
anymore
civilized
anyway.
countries, we should have gotten rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Heard it here, kids. Nerd House.
Anti-penny.
Anti-penny.
Penny.
Pennies are bullshit.
They're bullshit. We should learn from Canada.
Yes.
And that might be kind of a stretch.
We should
Their
learn
money
big
is
things
called
from kids.
loonies and toonies.
Yeah.
Okay, but their money is pretty.
Their money is pretty.
It's true.
I mean, they're called loonies. It's got to have something going for it.
Total tangent. Did they have to change their currency now that the queen is dead?
Mm-hmm.
I would assume they get new
Possibly.
currency
Well,
printed.
new currency that comes.
Yeah.
into
By the time that
circulation will
currency
be-
comes into circulation, are they going to have to do it again?
Possibly.
Personally, I just think they should use the currency that they have in the British Museum that has David Tennant on it.
Yeah.
Like,
plus.
Yeah.
David Tennant
We don't need the
doctors,
royal
let's go.
family.
Yeah.
No,
David
just David Tennant as the doctor.
Anyway, total tangent.
So
Yeah.
as we're walking and talking, I say, I don't actually have much in my notes, but it does appear that you are supplying 1,000 gold pieces to bankroll at least a portion of this whole operation?
That is what Lust is. And I have agreed to, unfortunately.
Um, I had a question about that. I'm just trying to make sure all of our notes and documentation is correct so that everything that needs to be kept track of on the day is accounted for. I don't see any kind of like, and I kind of look around out of game. Is gambling legal in the city?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not regulated, although if there's no riverboat.
Okay.
Like it's not regulated. It probably it's they've tried to make it illegal. Nobody's
Okay.
getting like arrested over it necessarily, but it's not like there's like a
There's no casino
there's
in
no
town.
casino.
Okay.
Not officially.
Not officially anyway, yeah.
Are there any coalescence guards within earshot
Rhodes, that man
at
is
the
going to be
moment?
dead by 2027.
Yes, I know. That's why it was funny. I had to share. It's not funny. That's not funny. I'm so sorry. That's so mean.
Rhodes posted in our Discord, the Bank of Canada will issue a $20 bill in early 2027 that will feature King Charles. The man will be dead by 2027.
Yeah.
By the
I
time they get
mean-
that printed and circulated, he will not be around.
I mean, the day the queen died, he should have abdicated anyway.
I mean, I was convinced she was gonna outlast him out of pure spite, so he couldn't be king.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I mean, I guess it all depends on if his health improves, which I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But
No,
Right.
no.
he's not in good health, you know?
No.
No.
Yeah.
However, they're the royal family, so I'm going to make fun of it.
Yeah.
And chuckle that
That's
in
what
2027 they will be behind the times. But yes,
Aren't they already behind the
they
times?
are already behind the
Yeah.
times.
It'll be a commemorative
2027?
2020 bill.
Seems like a
Yeah.
long time. What do I know?
Talk to the Bank of Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, let me just give him a call.
Yep. Yeah. Gambling.
Coalescence representatives within earshot. Are there any like in his posse? I assume there's like a whole big group of us that are walking at this point.
Yeah, you all are kind of like a trail of trawling fish following a boat,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And your group has kind of started to gather like assistants that are trying to get his signature on things and like people trying to check in on him. They sometimes you get a little shoved out of the way as people are trying to actually do business and work as you're going through. None of these people seem particularly coalescence. They do seem to be locals.
Okay.
But you do spot coalescence guards throughout the room.
Okay. I yeah, I just reiterate, uh the 1,000 gold piece donation is incredibly generous of you, and um you know Lust and everybody else greatly appreciate it. And then like kind of in a hushed tone, um I say, not quite like under my breath, but just a hushed tone that maybe only he can hear. I say, I was a little surprised. I don't see anything about any carnival games. Between you and me, I mean, a donation is very generous, but no one expects you to be losing money tomorrow. I just want to make sure that everything is accounted for.
You're expecting me to run a gambling hall on top of it. Pay people to run card games and dice games.
Why wouldn't you? The streets will be filled with people. People will be begging you to take their money.
Doesn't the house always win anyway?
My house does.
why I don't gamble around here. No offense.
None taken.
I mean, they could be. You could have dice games and shell games and those hoop shot games where the basket is always just a little bit farther and a little bit higher than you think. Ring toss.
Mm. Oh, the one with the ball that you roll.
What about some of those games where you can win a goldfish?
Goldfish aren't really my style. He turns to sign another piece of paper.
Well, yeah, but somebody would have to pay to play the game, and goldfish are cheaper than giving away money.
True. Yeah. Where do you
I mean,
suggest I
it costs
house
a little
these
more.
games?
Well,
Uh,
isn't there a big
and
plaza where all the food is going to be?
I think
What
all the
better
food was
than
going to be
to.
over at Envy's. Thought that's where all
yeah,
the
Right.
festivities.
But what better thing to do than have food and drink and get people to play your games? And
yeah.
Especially the drink.
Gluttony should have uh food booths. I'm sure there'll be
Mm.
extra space along the parade route
Mm-hmm.
for other kiosks. Envy is supplying larger venues for all of the after parties. There will be space.
Roll me persuasion with advantage.
Dustin, or
Uh, I will say if you guys want to roll separately, or one of you can roll with advantage.
it's up to you.
Let's roll separately.
Yeah. I can't read these dice very well.
I hate when I have to do that where I'm like, what is that number?
Well, they're like really pretty and like it's green painted, but they're in like really fancy font, and I was like, the fuck? Sorry. 29. Rolled 19.
19s, man.
I did not roll a natural 20, so it's not even worth me saying out loud.
I mean, it is.
Apparently, I'm stopping just short of natural 20 tonight because that's like several different dice that I've rolled 19s on.
I rolled a 13.
Okay.
Oh, Iris is now playing Seven Devils by Florence and the Machine as they're having this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm really liking this playlist that's happening. I wish we could be playing it as we're talking.
Yeah.
Um,
Then we will get canceled.
I know.
we will get canceled by Twitch. He finally stops for a second and looks at all of you. And at each of you, in turn, you've all kind of said spoken up at least a little bit. Although he kind of grumbles at Owen of like, doesn't gamble. Although then he goes, doesn't gamble. Man after my own heart.
I work quite hard for my money. I try not to lose it.
I know I liked you. Envy can get me the buildings. I'll set it up.
Well, Envy was already opening some buildings along the way for people to rest in. It would probably be good spots to set it up in, so while they're resting, they can, take a game break and cool off.
We will make sure that you have all of the appropriate details from Envy.
As soon as I do, I'll send word that we're ready. He'll snap his fingers and gesture to somebody behind the teller counter and waves them over to
Right as a big fat check.
Yeah, kind of. He actually, as he's kind of gesturing, the man is not subtle. He shouts across, like, over everyone. Um, Lust lackeys are here for the package. Bring it out, would you? And he sounds very disgruntled at the fact. Soon enough, you see another dwarf come around the the counter holding a small box, carved very nicely, but not flashy by any means. Simple, but understated. Um, and they hand over the box to Reed gestures to Owen, and the box is handed to you.
Well, we appreciate your cooperation today.
Keep an eye on that box as you're moving around town today. I'm not killing it again.
Fair enough.
Anything else I can do for you all?
Not unless you have anything else to add or anything else you'd like to pass on to Lust.
Any other words I'd like to pass on to Lust would start skirmish. I think you have other errands to run.
That we do, and we won't keep you from your business.
Right. And he immediately turns and continues doing his rounds. You hear him shouting at other people, some in anger, some in, just general, like, business-like. You do hear him laugh.
Business shouting.
Business shouting. Business shouting! You hear him laugh at one point, but he vanishes into the groups of people clamoring for attention, for his signature, for his money.
On our way out, I turn to Owen and say that box is undoubtedly pretty heavy. It should weigh about 20 pounds. Um, if the rest of you head to the other side of the river, I can drop that with a Lust so that we're not carrying it around on a field trip across the entire city. And then meet back up with you.
Well,
Mm.
he did
We'll be
give it
right
to
back.
me to watch, and absolutely no offense meant, friend, but I don't need to piss off one of the heads of the clans by letting this out of my sight. So, happy to run back there myself, or we can go as a group. But if one of the big heads gives you a task, I'm not gonna not do it.
I
Well,
respect that.
it might be nice to drop off some of the other stuff since we have this costume too.
And these flyers, like just like box flyers.
Yep.
I can't even stab anyone
You
right
see-
now.
You see, I realize that we're still carrying all of these flyers.
Uh-huh.
I say, Imp, why aren't you carrying these flyers? And whoever is holding them, Imp just snatches them out of your hands.
Ours is just like maybe, and she'll whisper to Imp, she goes, "If you can just drop them on the front steps of the businesses as we walk, so you don't have to carry them."
Not without mistress's permission.
All right.
Call her that. Weird that you call her that, but okay. As long as you're
Is it-
happy.
Is this a spanking thing? Is it that you want one or you don't?
Don't answer that.
You just see, like, the wheels in Imp's head start turning. That even he's not entirely sure.
All right.
Well, on that note, If we want to head back before we cross the river, probably does make sense.
It would be nice to drop this stuff off.
We should have brought a cart.
Why? We have Imp.
You
But
can't
it
hold
can only
that
carry
much.
so much stuff.
He'll do what he's told. Imp, please carry the chest for us.
He's like got it on top of the
Yeah.
stack of flyers.
Yeah.
This
Tall
Just-
as he fucking is.
just stacked, starting to look like the mouse from Cinderella.
Gus.
Yep. All right.
Sam, how long have we been gone?
Probably at least an hour, maybe going on 2 at this point. You've been gone for, yeah, probably about 2 hours at this point. Between walking and talking and
Schmoozing.
schmoozing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, Owen will start making his way backtracking back towards their headquarters.
Sounds good. Unless you all have anything else you'd like to do at Lust, we'll kind of fast track that. Dropping off the presents and giving Lust an accurate update of what you've acquired so far. They seem to be very pleased with their minions and things you've been able to acquire so far. And then gesture you out. Go, my pretties. Collect me more shiny things. And
Right.
we head to Wrath. Okay. Wrath, in the center of the southwestern quadrant, is solitary in its inhabitancy, mostly because of the size of the building that she owns and runs. The large building is not a tent nor a tower. It is an arena. As Wrath is known for fighting pits, specifically the arena itself here, training grounds, as well as private security and other such dealings.
Iris definitely starts playing Dangerous Woman by Ariana Grande.
Which is now stuck in my head. Thanks so much.
I love that song, but it gets stuck in my head so bad.
You all head into the arena through a set of doors, and actually find yourselves through the corridors that kind of come through this arena and from the street itself, and notice that there are plenty of people setting up, cleaning, hanging banners with Wrath's emblem. You do see some training happening, but as you approach the large arena itself, it's very much Colosseum-esque. And clearly this place is held for more than just like your standard brawling pit. This is for sports, this is for entertainment. There is seating in this giant arena. Not necessarily anything nefarious, but certainly enough to entertain, to bet on, to strive to be more in, so to speak. The ground itself is a packed dirt, sandy kind of flooring, and has clearly been recently raked. And you can see groundskeepers through, around cleaning, setting up, basically getting a general vibe going on here. And you also see something that's not normally there. This arena is typically houses a good portion of the city when a tournament is about to happen. Sometimes it is set smaller for smaller things to happen, but Wrath seems to like her grandiose shows. You do notice though that the arena itself has been set up with certain, how can I say this? Boundaries and fencing inside the arena itself, mapping out like an outside ring, and a stage has been set in the center. You realize that the path of the parade is going to run through the arena, around part of like 3/4 of this circular stage, and then out another door. At least from the way it looks, you can kind of intuit that in the way it's set up. But they are building or finishing building a centralized wooden stage in the middle that looks like it will be holding some sort of entertainment for those that are either watching the parade here, or those that are on the floats themselves. In the center of the arena, on that stage that is almost nearly built, you see a red tiefling with horns that kind of come up and curl up from her forehead. She is dressed in worn leather armor, leather boots, a sword at her side, and her voice carries, similar to Greed, but this in slightly similar commanding voice, as she's directing employees to finish repairs. No, I need that corner now. Those flags are crooked. Fix it. A little more snappier than Lust directs. As the staff is scurrying about and trying to fix things. And as you all approach, she turns and, without much of a blink of an eye, says, "Let me guess. Lust sent you."
Well, yes.
Of course. Well, let me collect. What did I promise them? Right, escorts. You need a headcount list.
Yes. And, well, we've been talking to the other heads, and they're all adding a little bit to their donations this year to enhance the festivities. There's going to be fireworks from Envy and some extra places for people to rest along the way. And there's going to be some games from Greed and extra costuming. And we were wondering if maybe you were interested in adding a little bit to your donation.
That's very adorable that you've managed to convince the others, those softies, to donate more of their resources. I'm already opening my doors. I think that's about all you'll get, along with me loaning my people.
Which is very appreciated. Just what better way to show the coalescence that they can't interfere in our city and with our ongoings than you showing how strong we are.
And what do you suggest I do?
Well, you're providing security, right?
As I normally do.
Which is very appreciated. That Minotaur that guards the stage has some of the biggest muscles I've ever seen. And I think that maybe she looks at Wim like, help, what should I suggest? I mean,
In these this security, these are your best and brightest.
Of course.
Do they have the head count list?
Yeah, they snap their fingers and a piece of parchment appears in their hands and they hold it out. You're still kind of like at the base of this. They're on the stage as you all are approaching and have approached. One of the Minotaur that had been guarding takes it and hands it off. And it's a list of, you know, a decent sized list, head count of people and where they'll be assigned, and which mostly escorts for the parade, and those that would be like kind of what you all are doing, but showing a bit of muscle and, you know, support that way.
I quickly scan the list. Approximately how many names are on here? Are we talking a few dozen? Are we talking 100?
No, like 50, I'll say.
Okay. Can I I'm not really from here. I haven't been in the city for very long. So I'm guessing the answer to this question is no, but do I recognize any names?
Roll me a history check.
That was a 4, so 4.
No.
you still have 2 advantages,
You
don't
do
forget.
2 advantages.
Oh, I don't want to use one of
Okay.
my advantages on this one.
No, that's fine.
It's better this way.
I'm just reminding everybody has 2 advantages.
And I will let those go over to the next week's session too, so don't think you have to use them by the end of the session. You do not recognize any names on this list.
How many people are just like so we're like in the middle of the arena, like watching them set up the stage, right?
Yep.
Can I make a perception check to A, get a rough estimate of how many people are in the arena working, and B, the other thing I'm looking for is like their general imposingness.
Sure. Go and roll me a perception check, and then in that thing insight. Guys, DMing after a
Can
day
I
of work is
assist
hard.
with this by trying to intimidate the shit out of whoever the closest person is?
Sure, roll me an intimidation check.
My perception
What is this?
is a 14. My insight is an 8.
Cool.
Intimidation is a 27.
Jesus.
Hey.
Yes.
Damn.
27.
Uh,
I'm just staring at someone in that very uncomfortable way and like slowly cracking my knuckles. Probably whoever the largest person is.
It's the
So
Minotaur.
yeah, so it's probably 4 times my size.
Yeah, this Minotaur had stepped up to like give you all the sheet of paper, and in his Minotaur way had been very like large and imposing. Armor, big ass axe on his back, that kind of thing. You catch him off guard with this like intimidating presence, And he immediately, like, he doesn't like weep in terror, but he definitely kind of like, okay, this chick is nuts. And like immediately takes like 3 steps back to, and like as he's backing up, he bumps into the like the stage, not realizing how far back he's moved. Definitely intimidated. Um Dust.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's your perception and your insight. You see
Actually, I'm gonna
probably
use one of my advantages on the insight
okay.
to reroll that. I'm glad I did. Um, so the perception, I think, was a 14.
Yeah.
Insight is a 17.
Okay. You see the people that are around in this arena are there's probably like at least 25 or so other people that you can see throughout scattered throughout the stands, coming and going out of the arena. Inside the arena itself, there's at least like 10 people like tending to the setup and like the maintenance of the sand and like making sure it all looks pretty, kind of trying to rake it into some sort of pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Their mentality with the insight check, you get a clear notion that they are moving with, there's no loitering, there's no idle chit chat, not so much out of like any sort of like abuse of power. You get the feeling that they are disciplined, like disciplined people, soldiers almost, but not like official soldiers like the coalescence that you see walking around. More just like this is the way that they function in Wrath.
Okay. Um, I look at the list and I look back at Wrath and I say, um, now I mean no offense here, but I don't recognize any of the names on this list. Is there any assurance that you can give us that these are indeed your best?
Excuse me?
I mean, the four of us are participating in this parade, and if our security detail couldn't even take us in a fight, they're not hardly worth having, are they?
You want to take us in a fight. To prove what?
To prove that you're all that you say you are and more.
And to just to prove our worth. I've already proven my worth. It's why I'm Wrath.
I'll make you a deal then. You you get 4 volunteers to spar us, the four of us. If we win, you uh you add another 30 names to this list.
Roll me another persuasion check. With advantage.
With advantage, persuasion is 24.
Remember that whole dice curse we had yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Has not let
Does it
up.
continue?
It continues. Thank God, all the rolls I make don't mean shit. You watch as like a little bit of fire, like kind of flares off of her. Go finish running your errands, because I'm sure you're going to go harass the others. Come back once you're done and we'll be ready for you. Now fuck off.
I just give Wrath a uncharacteristically devilish smirk. And I gesture for the rest of the group to leave with me as I turn to go.
It's relieving. If I get my ass kicked because of your big mouth, I'm gonna be pissed.
We'll be
Just
fine.
so you know. Saying. Lust doesn't like when this pretty face is beaten and bruised, okay?
It's very sad when you show up beaten and bruised.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they employ a cleric just to fix your pretty face. Okay,
Sorry about that. Something scared the dog.
no worries. Dustin got you in a fight.
Yeah, I
Safety
picked
team in the house.
I picked a fight with Wrath.
Sick life.
Great.
Once I've set us up to have a combat this session if we're quick.
I am gonna have that combat next session because I don't have stat blocks ready, even though I had an intention. I don't have 4 stat blocks ready.
Okay.
Considering I just made up a Minotaur for you.
Yeah, he's gonna be one of them.
Sorry, it was just off the top of my head.
No, I
I
love
was going to suggest a strongman show.
it.
Yeah, I was going to suggest, like, oh, maybe you need to, like, once the parade comes through, it just needs to be, like, a muddy wrestling match for all the people to lust over. But, alright.
Jello wrestling.
Nope, I was called out by name and said, I don't know, do you want to participate in this conversation? And I said, okay, I'm going to participate. And then nobody else said anything.
Well, you were doing something. I don't want to cut you off. Not an a-hole.
I have no complaints about this. It's going to be fun.
So you
Next
have been
time, speak up first.
you have been instructed to finish your errands and then come back to the arena. AKA, when we pick up next week, we will start with that fight. Because I need a map and people.
Okay.
I was ready for her to fight. I wasn't ready for 4 people to fight. Fine. You
Surprise!
DMing in a nutshell. You all leave. Not quite escorted out, but definitely like they start to kind of close like a well-timed militia. Sans the Minotaur at the moment, who stays by the stage. Some of the people who had been working in the arena kind of close ranks and not so subtly walk you out. For you to return.
All right, where next?
That was Wrath. Looks like Gluttony.
Yeah. Okay. You head across the street to a building that is not lavish, kind of low key in comparison to everyone else who has a little bit of a stage presence. Everyone else has clearly a facade or personality to put on. This one is more of a, how can I say this? Like Pride, where Pride is clearly a like Soho, marketplace of like finery and jewels. Gluttony is the stockyards in south side of Chicago.
Great.
There is and just like the smells hit you as you cross the street of just like it's a weird mixture of the most amazing things you've smelled food wise ever with an underlying like taste on your tongue in the of like the air itself of something that is like, well, like a butcher shop or the backyards of slaughterhouses.
It's like when you're walking down the street in New York and all it smells like cinnamon, honey, like
Yeah.
nuts, and then you have your street meat, and then all of a sudden it smells like Subway and Bumpy.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Um this market area is almost like an open air market surrounded in by these like palisades and this very clear building. But this building expands by like blocks. Um is just this huge encasement of some merchants, again, more of a wholesale vibe. You see people, you see some tavern keepers that you recognize. You see shopkeeps buying treats and specialities. There are some individual vendors that are selling like to the common folk, um, with for groceries and everyday food items, but you also see like breweries and these big barrels and casks of wine and beer. It's just kind of this giant amalgamation of a this huge market at a grander scale, clearly meant to facilitate the resources of any taverns, inns, restaurants, anywhere and everywhere that would serve food or booze, in addition to the smaller marketplaces, um, that would allow for the general public to be housed. And it is loud in here, like Portland Fish Market loud.
Well, uh, I'll look around to see if. So, I spewed some bullshit earlier about
Yeah,
like purchasing beer from
you
Gluttony
did.
and kind of knowing who they are. Uh, I would like to look for the person that I presume to be Gluttony, sort of knowing who they are.
All right, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Eh, not bad. 13.
13. Okay. You see a you don't see Gluttony themselves. However, you see, unlike the lines that run up and down this place leading to different vendors and booths and stalls, you see a line that seems to go from the door that you enter down part of the this like huge marketplace, like cutting through certain stalls, up some stairs and up to an upstairs like glassed in area that kind of encompasses the top level of this place. And you can see windows are spotted throughout the upper, like the second floor, looking down on this pit of the marketplace.
Okay.
And that line
Um,
is snaking up that way.
yeah, I think they're up there, but I think this is the line. But since we're on official business for lust, I kind of don't feel like we really need to wait.
I'm sorry. How long did you say the line is?
It's pretty long. It's from like you guys almost bump into the back of the line as it snakes through some stalls and up the stairs. So probably at least like 20 people.
I mean,
Uh,
I could probably get past them without them noticing.
Well, I mean, in theory, I could disappear from here right into the office, but it might be kind of rude.
Ruder than shoving our way through the line.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I can definitely get past them, but they would certainly notice.
That's because everybody notices you.
That's the idea.
I am going to. I'm going to cast Sending. And I'm going to send a message to Gluttony. And I will say, "Hi, Gluttony. Iris Greenbranch here. We met before. Lust sent us to check on festival happenings. Please don't make us wait. In this very long line."
Okay.
That's it.
Perfect. Roll me a persuasion check.
24.
Jesus. Um. Yeah, guys, that curse. My God. Allowing you to careen through these with general success. There's a beat. And then you hear a grumble, like this grumbling noise, like very grumpy. Um, and you hear back Iris the pirate. I think your other boss owes me money. But come on up.
Side note, above the table,
Yep.
would we assume that Current perhaps sent Iris with money?
Do they have money? Weren't they on the run from the oops, we let something out?
No, they were on the run from, oh, we broke Current out of jail. And then this magical lantern is making the ghost pirates come to the other town.
But we did have the thing that the ghost pirates came to.
I don't remember.
Yes, I
We had
think
a
so.
fancy.
But that
We
was
had a
at
fancy lantern. We pawned it.
That was
It
at
didn't end
the
well.
that was
that
at
was
the
at the
port.
harbor though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Roll me. I got it. High or low?
Oh god. I'm having faith in your dice, Sam. Hi.
Okay. High. She sent you with money. Low. She set you up for failure. Oh, you are so lucky with a 59.
Woo.
Fern sent you with money. To pay the debt. She knew you were coming to Oxenfree, and she was like, don't want you getting arrested. Here's some
Also,
before
she
we get
doesn't have to go herself now.
Yeah, now she doesn't
Yeah.
have to show up herself. I don't think she cares
So-
for Oxenfree. It's too far inland.
Yeah, it's like too far away from
Yeah.
Mage Hand can hold up to 10 pounds, I think.
Yes. 5 or 10.
Given the message, Iris is gonna be like, we can go up, but give me a second. And she'll cast Mage Hand and have it
I hope Ellen
dangle the
makes that
pouch of
face.
money like in front of Gluttony's window. Like, I've got
Yep.
it. And then she'll just kind of trot up the stairs, being like, excuse me, pardon me, just like winding her way around the people.
Does everyone else follow?
Yes.
Yep.
You hear a lot of disgruntled voices as you cut the line. At one point, one of the people in line, this disgruntled dwarf who you sees Iris trot past, and then sees whoever's behind Iris, and turns and sees the next three people and says, "No, no, no, I don't think so," and tries to step in front of whoever is third in line, whoever that's going to be.
As
Oh no,
soon
you
as
do
I'll
not.
Yeah.
You
We're probably
absolutely
bringing up the caboose, and
Yeah.
immediately in my hand, a
Okay, go
psychic
back.
blade just appears in my hand, and I'm like, look, I've got a long to-do list today, and not a lot of time to get it done. That man is owed money. I just got to give him his money.
Roll me an
Do you
intimidation.
want to stop him?
Roll me an intimidation check with advantage.
15.
Da, 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 da. But he looks at you, looks at the psychic blade, looks at the dwarf next to you, and immediately steps back in line.
I'm just gonna twirl the psychic blade between my fingers as we walk.
Everybody else pretty much stays out of your way at that point. Like from then up, nobody really gives you all any sort of. You get a few dirty looks, but nobody physically interferes as you walk up.
That's why I was sent. Not to talk. Stab.
And once they reach the door, she does shave and haircut.
You hear the 2 pence hit the door. Something is thrown at the door. Bump bump. And it sounds like something has been thrown at the door to answer you.
She just goes in. But she has the money back this time.
Yeah.
I have your money.
You all enter this clearly office. A lot more like Greed in a setup of a desk and chests with boxes and with papers. But unlike Greed, you get this. It's that smell that you had when you walked in that made your mouth water. It smells so good up here. Like you can tell that there's very clearly enchantments to only let the good smells come in. And this huge desk, this giant oak desk that's covered in some papers and, a few scattering of copper coins. You see sitting behind it with the windows to his back is a goblin. And he is dressed pretty commonly, actually. Less extravagant than anyone else you've seen. No armor, no flashiness. But you see probably Owen the best with the passive perception. You spot little um little hints of the sloppiness, like a stain here, a bit of crumbs here, clearly matching because what else is on the desk is plates of food, clearly had breakfast, finished it, didn't move the plates, just stacked another plate for lunch on top of it. Coffee cups, coffee mugs everywhere. Just enough sustenance to think that this goblin surely has some sort of magic stomach, because there's far too much food for this guy. And he is, one would think, with the way people talk about gluttony, one would think Jabba the Hutt-esque kind of creature. But for some reason, that is surprisingly not the case here. It's almost as if just being as chaotic as goblins can be, whatever, you know, whatever chemical concoction in his body allows him to digest all of those calories and stay goblin sized.
The tapeworm.
Tape, yeah, potentially. He has named it Fred.
Oh God. Well, hi. Thank you for agreeing to see us. Before you throw anything at me, Captain Current did send you the money. And a little extra. She wants me to bring another cake back with me. Here you go.
He immediately takes it from the mage hand.
And she like very subtly starts playing Smooth Criminal.
And he dumps the bag out and immediately starts counting it, like almost to the ferocity that greed would have on counting coin. But like it's just like this instant making sure that it's all there, like to whatever current owed him, as well as the extra. And he says, "Fine, you can tell them you can pick up a cask on the way out."
Aye, aye. To that end, Lust also sent us.
Bleed me dry from something else. What do they want?
Well, they want to make sure that everything's on track with all the food and vendors and everything like that, you know. And they wanted to get a look at the menus for the final party. But also,
There's always an also.
see, you know. So you shouldn't be surprised. Like, it's not a surprise. All of the other heads are donating a little extra to make this pride much more successful in the face of the coalescence trying to interfere. And we were wondering if maybe you wanted to add to that. You know, maybe some extra. Well, Envy is providing places for people to rest, for example. And there's going to be some games and stuff. And maybe we could provide some beverages for people, not alcohol, because, you know, I know that's pretty expensive, but, you know, just cold things, lemonade, water, cotton candy for people to enjoy. Brought to you by Gluttony.
Ice cream truck.
Yes.
Cart. Because we don't have truck. I don't know what a truck is. Ice cream cart.
Ice cream wagon.
Mm-hmm. Ice cream wagon.
You know, that doesn't have the same ring to it.
It can if you put the jingle on it.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Oh, just put little bells in the spokes of all the wheels.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, just, you know, want everybody to see that Gluttony can keep up.
I can't let someone like greed show me up, but I don't know. I am already giving so much with the food and the sustenance.
Hey, listen, you know how particular Envy is, and I admire them. They keep everything to a T, but even they're donating on the fly at fireworks show and extra places for people to rest. Gluttony is way more spur of the moment than Envy. I mean, you could probably think of something great.
I mean,
Plus, all those resting people are probably going to want to eat something and drink something.
yeah,
Yep.
there's going to be gambling in those places too.
Yeah.
So they won't be able to stop themselves, really.
And what better way to console themselves from losing money than with food and drink?
Guys, at the rate we're going, no one's gonna actually watch the parade.
But they're all gonna have a
So
lot of
nothing's
fun.
different than a normal Pride Parade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what you guys would have asked Lust if Lust hadn't been the one to send you on these missions.
It would have been like a G-string. Can you have like emblazoned like rhinestone G-strings? Thanks.
Maybe
I mean,
add
it would
a
have been
taco
one of
show to
two
the
things.
stage.
Either outfit all of these rest areas with stripper poles,
Mm.
or provide beads for everyone to throw.
Or lust, after people have had drink all day, make sure that they have things to participate in after dark activities safely.
Yeah, appropriate party bags.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Lust.
Yeah. Everyone gets a little party favor as they go in.
Mhm.
Oh my god, the party favors could be in bags shaped like upside down pineapples.
Exactly.
Yep.
Gluttony looks at all of you, picks up the turkey leg that had been sitting on a plate on his desk and rips just a whole hunk of it off and just chews. He's thinking,
That's fresh, right?
killed it this morning. Roll me a persuasion check. It's the day of persuasion checks, kids.
22.
Almost a little better. Not good enough. Chews and he chews and he chews for a lot longer than you would think. Until he says, fine. Fine. I'll tell the ones downstairs and the suppliers to fill your rest stops and provide some more food and drink.
Truly generous of you.
Overly generous, I would say. You remind Lust of that next time I ask for something.
We'll definitely let them know. And, well, we won't bother you any longer than we have to. Just so I can make sure to tell Captain Current her debt is good, right?
That's clear.
Thank you. Well, would you provide us the menus? Last wanted to examine them.
Yup. My god. There. In that box. And you see, like, next to the door is, like, 2 stacks of boxes that are clearly filled with, like, parchment of, like, again, you guys are errand runners. 2 stacks of boxes with, like, just piles of parchment of, like, very fine calligraphied, flyer menus, basically, mostly for the party, the final party, but you see it's like kind of just a mix of, the featuring what booths are going to be around throughout the parade route, kind of a highlight of the who's who of who's offering food and drink throughout, and like special, like, certain, like, parades don't really do it necessarily, but like theme parks will have, like, you know themed food, and like, like when you go to Disney you're gonna get like a Mickey beignet or like a Mickey pretzel. It's stuff like that where it's like little bits and pieces that, like, oh, we can go here and get this, and go here and get the chocolate vaginas and, all of that stuff. Those are a real thing, by the way.
They are a real thing and they're delicious.
And you are waved out of the office. As
On
he
the way
calls
down,
next.
I'll pat that guy on the shoulder on the way back out.
He kind of grumbles, like he moves like he's gonna try, like he wants to take a swing at you, but then realizes who it is and stops. Just kind of grumbles to himself.
All right. Just one left.
You head through the marketplace north. Sloth is very different from the rest of the sins. While you approach the building, it is a square-shaped building, no like prominent roof necessarily. There's an entrance. It seems to be unguarded. You see coalescence guards throughout the city as you guys are moving through. There's no like specific presence here. Although it does appear you see coalescence guards coming in and out with additional bodies who are dressed in this like deep purple uniform that look kind of guard-like but are not armed necessarily, and they are heading like you watch a pair of them, a coalescence guard and this other humanoid in this deep purple, leave the building, head down the stairs, and walk towards the northern gate together. You all know well enough, and I'll give this to you. Getting in and out of Oxenfree is a adventure. Each gate goes through a check. Every single cart and caravan is checked thoroughly by a coalescence guard as well as a member of the Sloth faction. Sloth rules the all caravans, gates, transportation of any kind, basically, and the general trade routes that come through the city. You also know and have run the Oxenfree run. The Coalescence owns Oxenfree and has for quite a while. And within the city and about a mile outside of its gates is like a parlay line. There's no fighting, there is no bandits, it's highly regulated, it is highly patrolled. Outside of that mile, in the break of fields from the forest to the west and the fields beyond to the east, or east, north, and south, extending into separate directions in separate major cities. Absolute chaos. There are bandits, there are ambushes. Caravans are generally typically pretty well armed on their way in. It's actually something you guys have probably done as a group, is signed up to be caravan guards for merchants coming in and out of the city. And Sloth runs all of that. That's where you would get the contracts for those. So it's not surprising that there's not a whole lot of foot traffic here in terms of like public like it is in Gluttony, where it's just like a free-for-all mercantile area. This is very much like a more privatized kind of situation. But the building is still open to you all. You head inside and are greeted by, despite the association with the coalescence and the partnership with the guards and the government, um, you would think that this was owned by Lust. There is, like, you walk in and you are immediately met with this almost open courtyard in this building. There are trees and a giant pond. There is benches and scattering of like birds and other fauna. Um the guards are still walking around both in each type of uniform, but it's actually less regimented than Wrath, you notice. And near the pond is very clearly a human woman lounging on this chaise lounge, surrounded by what looks like a inner circle or some sort of like council, so to speak. And they seem to be working, but at a very leisurely pace.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm. Do we see floats?
You do actually see the not so much inside. You did see it outside, and inside you do see like actually no, you do see floats outside of this like courtyarded area, which is huge. Like it looks like a conservatory kind of area. You see outside, like almost bordering the walls, are stalls that are large enough to hold floats or other vehicles, even housing horses, like a barn stall, so to speak. And in some of those are the what is left of like the last minute float creations. But in like the vibe here is so drastically different from some of the other places you guys have been today.
Is there anyone around that, like you said, there's people moving at a
Mhm.
leisurely pace, but think maybe we can, unless there's someone who looks like they're in charge of things, and I can do a perception check for that. Just stop one of them and try to get like our bearings. Where the fuck are we? I'm tired at this point.
You guys have walked a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Roll me a perception check.
I mean, if there's any place like to sit down, I feel like this place would have it.
Mhm.
It's true.
There's probably like a
Yes.
very nice, like, you know, picnic table with some umbrellas, some nice chairs.
Do they have those like nap pods like they have
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Japan?
Yeah. Those
Yes.
egg chair
This is
Rent
things.
a
definitely
nap
like
pod?
far more luxurious and less like commercially based place. Basically a
Excellent.
spa.
yeah,
Is it
like
night? Sorry.
no, go ahead. It doesn't add to it. I was just gonna say Iris
Never
plays
mind.
something more chill, like Dreams by Fleetwood Mac or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Reds, what was your roll?
19.
Oh yeah, with no little to no problem. You don't even have to really ask. You spot a couple guards like walking in and out, but you notice you're about to ask one when you notice that the group near the pool, it's almost like the human woman with this she's got like almost like this very elegant dress on, very like low maintenance. She's still made up. She still is like looks her best, very kind of glam look. Clearly is holding looks like she's kind of holding court here. A little bit different than like Pride, who sits on a full fucking throne. Um this is clearly a little more low key, but she is clearly like there are attendants like kneeling at the feet of the chaise lounge. She's being handed things, that kind of stuff.
Someone feeding her grapes.
Yeah, someone's
In the
absolutely feeding her
forest.
grapes.
There's the
Of
person with
course.
the fan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is just hedonism bot. I see.
Yes.
Yes. I'll make my way over there. Excuse
I'll
me.
skip after Owen.
Of course. Of course. Full-blown skipping while also playing.
While also playing.
Hey
Double
man, I was
threat.
in marching band. If I could march and play, Iris can skip and
Fair.
play.
That's fair.
You approach and she kind of looks up with like this like nonplussed kind of just languish of the head. Very just nonchalant.
We're here because Lust sent us. We're supposed to just be confirming, how things are going for tomorrow.
Oh, yes. I kept meaning to send somebody over. Slipped my mind. Although it does seem important. She kind of like looks around at the group and she points at a a person on her right who's like taking notes. And she says, "Do you have the thing? The the thing I was supposed to give Lust?" And for like a second they give that like silent like I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like what are you be more specific. And then they like immediately they're like, "Oh yes, yes, yes." And without any effort, they pull out they hand over a map similar to what you have. However, it has a traced outline of the route
Mm.
of the parade. And she says, the parade floats will be ready, outside of, outside on the street in the morning, um, ready for everyone. Oh, and you'll need these, for anyone that you're riding on. And she, gestures to the person again, who holds out a handful of, um, these gems to you. They'll just, if you don't know how to drive one of them, just put it right on top of the wheel and it'll follow the one in front of it.
Cool.
Thanks. We do not have proficiency with land vehicles.
Yeah. It's cool though because it's AI.
Oh, I
so
actually
obviously it's
do for
fine.
some reason.
How do you have proficiency with land vehicles? I mean, it's your
Um,
background, gotta be.
In case somebody wants her to run over them with a cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She runs the shady van. You guys roll in?
Of course.
Shady wagon.
Shady
Shady
wagon,
wagon.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Does it have like spray paint on the side? Like some like hedonistic mural on the side of it?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
definitely.
it certainly
Definitely.
does now.
Some people have food tracks. Wim has a dominatrix track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wagon.
Wagon.
Yeah.
Sloth looks up at you, Owen, and just she gives you like a look. You've been around Lust enough, like just a little bit of a look. And says, "Is that all you require of me?"
Well, that's what was on the list, but we should probably know that all the other heads of their organizations, they kind of started this competition of one-upping each other. I just wanted to give you a heads up
Of
in
course they
case there's anything
did.
you wanted to do. Yeah,
This
fireworks display, extra food and drink, clothing,
Games.
games.
that sounds exhausting. And she kind of starts just looking at her nails, just kind of indifferent to it. Truly exhausting. trying to one up one another.
Well, no one wants to be outdone, and no one wants to. No one wants to have it said that they couldn't keep up with the others.
Please. I don't have to put effort into keeping up with them. They put far too much effort into their competitions and their images. This is all just errand running and working. Even for the fun we're supposed to have.
That's fair. It'll be lots of fun. Probably wouldn't hurt to have maybe transportation for all those people who had a little bit too much fun.
Because, I mean, they probably need to go to sleep, but not, forever.
And
Yeah.
also not in your space, because if
Yeah.
they don't have transportation, they're just gonna be here.
Or they might try to drive their own wagons
Oh.
and cause an accident on your roads.
Ugh.
And what's more exhausting than having house guests that won't go home?
Or
Or
worse,
having
that
to
try to
clean
go
up
home
their
and then back
messes.
into your garage on the way.
That would be a lot of work. Roll me persuasion checks. Say everybody. Oh my god, Rose, you were doing so good.
It was. My dice went, but that's not what you're doing. That's not what you do. Why did you open your big fat mouth, idiot?
Why did you speak?
Oh.
3.
Oh, Owen, you were doing so
Oh
good.
wait, I've got
You got
advantage. I've got yeah.
advantage.
26.
Of course.
Okay, that's a 19 on the die, so 20.
Much
Pretty funny.
better.
21.
14.
Okay. Rhodes, for once, the dice match your... Like, you were RPing so good, and your dice were like, no.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
That's like so annoying.
That is the worst that could
It's
happen.
the
You're like, God
worst.
damn it. I was brilliant.
It's also like irrationally embarrassing. Even though
Is-
you have no control over what like your dice come up as, it's like, well fuck, that's embarrassing.
Because for once,
Yeah,
your
like-
brain actually was working.
Yeah.
That's when you blame it on the NPC.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
NPC, they have an irrational hatred of you.
Truly.
She looks up at you all and kind of, as you're appealing to your audience.
We're appealing to your sense of long-term laziness
Yeah,
instead of short-term laziness.
exactly.
And she says, fine, I guess a wagon or two escorting people home would not be a bad idea after the parade. I think I can spare that.
Like one of those trolleys where it makes stops at like the ends. You get on the trolley and it takes you there and then drops people off. Makes a big circle.
I guess I can do that. She looks at like another one of the attendees and says, write that down, make it happen.
I mean, honestly, that'd be just really great to have in this city to begin with on a long-term basis. Probably make you a lot
Don't
of
be
money
getting
when you charge
delusions
people
of
for it.
grandeur.
Yeah,
I'm just
Well,
saying,
then
it
it
would be
could-
really helpful.
yeah.
Probably make you a lot of money if you
Yeah.
charge like a flat fee just to get on and off.
Yeah. You could ride, you can ride it for the whole loop. Or you could charge by distance. Like zones.
Well, for now, you can tell Lust that they get something extra out of me. They'll be thrilled. Would you care to stay? Lounge, take a break for a little bit.
I would, but I don't think we're supposed to.
Unfortunately, we do have one more engagement.
Boo. Well, you've gotten what you need from me. Feel free to stop in if you need anything else. Not that I can guarantee I'll give it to you. Otherwise, we'll be ready at the beginning of the route tomorrow.
As they're exiting, she starts playing Hero by the Foo Fighters.
All right.
So who's last? Are we supposed to hit up Lust too? I
We should
mean,
Well, no.
probably no.
No, we have to go back to Wrath.
We have to go fight some people.
Yeah.
oh yeah. Okay, sounds fun.
Your party heads back south to Wrath, having achieved fantastic results otherwise. But not quite done yet. Head back to Wrath, and that is where we will end tonight's game and proceed next week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, on the holiday to do some fighting.
Yeah.
To do some fighting and escort a parade, as the party is also escort for the captain of the parade as well. And yeah, we will finish with that. Everyone has some advantages left. Thank you, Court, for the donation.
Yes, thank you, Court.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we will extend Pride one more week.
Woo!
Yeah,
Do
bonus
some,
week.
a little more
Bonus
action.
Pride.
Bonus Pride. Yeah. So thank you all for watching. Thank my players for playing.
Hey,
Thank
that's
you, Robin.
us.
That is us.
It was fun. Thank you for DMing.
Of course, I
Thank
love
y'all.
playing in this world and in this city.
I
And
can't wait to get back to it.
and yeah, we will see everyone same time
Yes.
and same channel next week.
Same bat time, same
Same
bat channel.
But thanks. Everyone have a wonderful last week of Pride. We'll be back next week for Pride, and good night, Internet.
Okay, bye.
Bye.